Welcome to Design Diary, the podcast where you get to look inside my board game design notebook as well as what's going on inside my head. We look at a new word each day from the sense of mechanics, tone, theme, or inspiration for a full game. Today's word is
career. To go at top speed, especially in a headlong manner, which I learned is not the same as careen, even though it kind of means the same thing. Or it's not the same origin.
What's the difference?
Careen has nautical origins, tracing back to the Latin word for hull. So I thought they were the same thing, just they were interchanged, but they are. They technically, people will interchange them, but they started out differently and somehow met up. Maybe in a fast careening straight line, they eventually met up.
Definitely. That's probably it.
So
what do you have this week?
Yeah, all right. So I'll start. So I have like 6 different lines of things that I wrote. So one theme was that a car was out of control and it can't stop, and it's your job to keep the road going as long as possible in a Soro or microdrift kind of way.
Okay.
And if you've ever played Soro, basically you're moving around. It's like all these little loop-de-loops on this like tile board, and you're trying to not go off the board or hit somebody else. And I actually kind of went into this a little deeper, and this was the best one that I had. The rest of them are just kind of like thoughts on the word. But from a thematic side of building train tracks as the train is going. So it's like, early days of the railroads, and they've booked this train, but we didn't finish building the tracks yet. So players are, and I guess this is some sort of either competitive various tracks out there or collaborative. As the train is going, you're laying tiles in front of it and laying tiles all over the board or whatever. And I guess it would be like some sort of gridded board. So there's actually spots that the tiles eventually meet up with. And you're hoping to get this train to eventually make it to its destination, as well as not crash at the end of your current path. And one of the tactics I thought you could do as a player is make loops. So the train is, technically going in this little loop for a little while and not moving down its destination, but your coal is running out. So you got to keep your coal going. You got to keep people, the guests could be looking at the train and see the same spot 3 times in a row and get upset about something like that. But really, it's just you're trying to be ahead of that train because they booked it, they paid for it before the tracks were ready. It's more of a theme than anything else, but I can imagine the tile laying on a gridded board with some tiles already out there that allow you to kind of work your path towards it and things like that. That was my first idea.
So that reminds me, so how many movies are there in the Speed franchise? Just checking to see if you know.
Oh man, it's a quiz. So I've only seen probably 1.5.
So the first one is on a bus, second one is on a boat. Did they ever do one on a train? Because that seems like that would be the game that you're basing it off of.
I don't know if this word made you think of speed first and foremost, but that was the first thing I thought of, was this bus that cannot go below 50 miles per hour.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, speed on a train would be amazing if it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It makes me think of Back to the Future 3.
Oh man, Back to the Future 3. I grew up on the laser disc of that. It was so good.
Wow.
Solid stuff.
So what do you have?
I didn't have that much for career. It's tough because the definition is mentioning that the one that I read, it was move swiftly and in an uncontrolled way in a specified direction.
Everything I saw said like reckless and straight. That was kind of like everything says that.
Yeah, so I didn't want players to not have a choice, and so it's not like you get to move at a speed and then something happens. I want there to be a little bit more choice than that, and so the uncontrolled part would be the exact consequences of your action, I guess. But the controlled part would be the direction that you career.
Okay.
At least in my mind.
It's funny because my couple ideas, the direction was not controlled, but everything else was.
Yeah, they're super different. And so I was talking about like I was writing down if you're traveling like at a higher speed, there are a larger array of consequences, and then that just goes into push your luck mechanisms, and that's something that I kind of wanted to avoid. But your mention of kind of solving problems as they come along, like with running out of coal or something. Daniel Solis was mentioning on Twitter a few weeks ago about relative movement, where you have a piece, and instead of moving that piece around a board, pieces move past you. So imagine you're in a car in a road trip, and there's something in the distance, and it comes closer. Even though you are moving towards it, it's not moving towards you.
That's interesting.
And so you could have a set of events or things that you need to take care of, and the faster you move, the faster these events kind of cascade down past you.
Gotcha.
And so you want to be able to take care of them as they go, and if they get past you and you haven't done anything with them, they're lost forever. And
That's
so the faster you move, the I guess more powerful the actions are, but the less time you have to complete those missions. And so I don't know exactly what that would involve, but I've wanted to do a relative kind of movement game rather than moving a piece around, because I think that's really interesting. It's kind of like I think you pull it from Death Angel, which is that
I think I own that.
Like corridor one. Yeah. But then again, like it doesn't have the kind of chaos, uncontrolled, headlong kind of feel that Career originally would have.
Yeah, so, I
don't know.
There were two things that made me think of from that headlong straight movement. Essentially, was like I thought of flicking. So from a dexterity point, there's all kinds of things you can do, but a flick is generally straight with you can't like curve a flick. You can sort of, give it a little English with the corner of your fingernail or whatever, but it's still kind of going to go straight from where you flick it. So I thought of flicking as one of those dexterity things that is straight only. Another thing I thought of was sunlight or any form of shining a light. It generally can't bend. You can get a mirror or something like that, but generally light will go straight. And I just was trying to figure out what goes straight with not stopping. Dropping goes straight, and something like string railways, like a string will go straight. All those things have that sort of headlong aspect to it.
The one image that I had that doesn't translate to a game, but I know you'll appreciate, is the holdo maneuver. That is definitely careering in a specific direction with unsure consequences.
So that was intentionally crashing into something, which was a thought that crossed my mind was, you are, and this was there. I tried to get a couple things out of this. You are going at this full speed, and you're just trying to take out as much as you can. Now that can be really horrible. You're hitting people or something like that. But take that down, and you're trying to like maybe knock down trees to like clean up some land or something. But along those lines, I had another idea was that you're trying to gather something as you're doing it, and just. I kept going and trying to figure out from a thematic side, if you're going fast, what can you actually do? And Katamari kind of came to my mind. You're kind of rolling like a ball and collecting everything as you go. But I had one idea that I've seen people try, and I feel like I might have even played a game that did this. Was one of those racing games where one player controls the steering and the other player controls like the speed or something along those lines. And there's limited conversation and limited discussion. So I know I've seen people attempt it, and I feel like there's one game out there that does it, at least that's at retail. There's probably more. But
Crazy Cards.
Is that it? That sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Yes, and I have played that.
Crazy Cards from Portal Games.
Yep. So that kind of thing came right to my mind, but I don't know how limited the discussion was in that. I feel like I want something where we talk about our plan and we go do it. Like, for example, like real, like almost Hanabi-ish or something where you give somebody like clues. Like I give you 2 cards and you pick which one to use and you give me 2. And like you have a plan, obviously, but we don't know what's going to happen. It definitely screams chaos, this word. I don't know.
Yeah.
That out of control
Yeah,
is like...
and that's the toughest part, to kind of rein it in, to
Yeah.
make sure that players feel like they have control, but still have the feeling of chaos.
Yeah.
So
Have you played...
who knows?
Have you played Sorrow?
Yeah, I have Sorrow.
Okay.
Sorrow's great.
So that like the windy road is kind of what I took from that. Was you don't want to stop in Sorrow. You don't want to crash, essentially.
Right. Go as long as you can.
And that's what I was trying to think of, going as long as you can with the least amount of resources. So you've got the coal in your train and you've got track. So, we're caught up, and I'm just going to try to coast downhill for a little while in like a circle or something like that. I have no idea.
Have you seen the movie Snowpiercer?
So when we did a word with the guys from the Dr. Wicks guys, and my idea, they told me Snowpiercer was perfect for it. So I must be repeating my idea because I haven't seen it.
Around.
I haven't seen it, but I know I saw the trailer and I know a little bit about the concept. It seems pretty wild, though.
I'm gonna have to go listen to that episode.
Yeah,
see how it fits.
Trying to remember what the word was. We did 2 words back then, and I don't remember what they were. There's too many episodes.
Who can remember when you do a podcast every single day?
It was either farce or uncanny. So
okay,
those are the 2 episodes I did.
Well, this wasn't one of my stronger weeks, but
this is not a strong week for me either, and I'm okay with that because that's what to me it's like, if you do it every day, you're gonna have strong days, you're gonna have weak days. If you don't do it every day, you're not gonna have either. So
exactly. Yeah, and being bad at something is the first step to being good at something. So we'll get better. I'll get better.
Yeah, we will. Let's see if somebody else knows. I'm sure on the Board Game Geek forum, somebody's going to come out with something amazing out of this word. And they do that. Whenever I struggle with one, they come out with something really good. So
that forum is crazy. If anyone out there hasn't seen it, you need to go to BGG and check out the Design Diary forum, because there are some very passionate people that are doing more stuff than we are.
That's what I was going to say. There's people putting in more work than I am every single day. And I got to figure out a way to just kind of archive that and have it for everybody to see, because it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right, I think that's good. We'll do better next week.
Sounds great.
All right, see ya.
See ya.